this woman underfoot. Oh, not me, my chosen one. Sweet angel, wrap me in your velvet cloak, my dear. Love's a sweet warm goddess, I invited here. So many times I call your name. Oh, please, baby, yeah. So many times I call your name.
Welcome. You're a Paul Trove, STB, Singletown, all the way in Scandinavia. Justin, Chris Mitchell, the Emperor from Canada. You know, the other day I was thinking about your pizzas and I was craving them. Like, man, I wish I could have a slice. Good to see everybody. Megatron is back. Stephen from Arizona. Good to see you. Catching a live stream makes my day. Well, I'm going 2 days in a row. Hemi is back. Singletown says, I'll make July Masculinity Month. It's a month to take a holiday and relax. Attaboy. One Mighty and Strong in the house. Good to see everybody. Happy Canada's is back. Float you up here for a second. Well, guys, today is a special day for men that have fathers or for boys that have good fathers. For those that don't have children, you're still a good person, a good man. You are a son of a father. You have a grandfather and a great-grandfather, and the lineage goes on. But why do the courts alienate the fathers? I have been, this is my ninth year as a divorced man or a separated man through divorce who have to deal with 3 kids. The youngest was 10. He's now 19. I've seen half of his life outside of the marital home, so I understand what men go through when they can and can't see their kids. Luckily, I was fortunate that I could see my kids on every Father's Day. That was all day. Sometimes it was all day if I had them that weekend, and some days now they come over, we have lunch, we have a couple burgers, we talk the shit, and they go on and do their thing, which is obviously very much different as than a 10 and a 12-year-old or a 10 and a 14-year-old. But it is what it is. Europe says they alienate the children from the father because they support the message toxic masculinity. They hate men. Well said, brother. Big Lebowski is back. Good to see you. Glad you are here. I love that movie. Going through 8 years of financial records today for my divorce. Never again. You're a year behind me, brother. Good. Everybody will put that live up and we'll make sure we market it so everybody is on it. JR's back in the house. Good to see you. Europe says 5 years. I have not seen my daughter now. She is 8 years old. And you know what, brother? My heart aches for anybody that cannot see their kids. We have men in this chat that some have not seen their kids for years. They know nothing about their kids. And that is a travesty. That is literally, that's treason in my book. Stephen says divorce court is a Marxist invention deeply rooted in the satanic communist ideology. You're not wrong, brother. You're not wrong. Anyone that keeps their kids away, we'll get into it, why fathers are needed. Anybody that keeps their kids away from their father. Now, now look, we have to say there are dipshit fathers out there that put their kids in massive harm's way and danger that could potentially hurt them and have done things to them that they shouldn't have done. We're not talking about those people. They should be in jail or whatever. They should not have access to their kids. We're talking about good men who have been removed from the court system, by the court system, to not see their kids. Primo's in the house. Good to see you, brother. Check out Primo's channel. Even if we're not, chances are we were stepfathers at one point. Sure. And there are men that have come in these chats that were raised by good stepfathers from the 70s and 80s. So, you know, there are decent stepfathers. Do we recommend being a stepfather? No. But we will also acknowledge those that have stepped in and have helped in dire circumstances, probably browbeaten by the biological mom, but still enough wanted to be a good influence in someone's life. Chris Mitchell, it's all about the money and control. Well said, brother. One Mighty and Strong says, no children here. I know too much to roll the dice in a society that functions off robbing males of their vitality through a legal system that favors females. You're not mistaken. One Mighty and Strong. And the men that are seeing this, it's not the fact that we don't want you not to be children. It's extremely risky in this world. Divorce and alienation from the children is the ultimate weapon to destroy a man mentally, physically, and financially. That's why men become drug addicts. Couldn't agree more. The depression and the rejection that a father that saw his kid for every day does not get to see them literally causes deletions with many fathers. I have 4 friends that went out. Is there any other father figure besides my dad to look up to? Unless he's a grandfather of some sort. Could be an uncle. There are lots of great uncles have been great. D-Man in the house. Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you putting that up. There's a lot of good uncles out there. I have some older cousins that are father-like figures to me, but I had a really strong dad. Thank you, Single Town. We will keep it there. Who else we got? D-Man is in the house. Be you a father or not? D-Man's got some kids, and he's experienced it. Hopefully you guys are being able to at least talk to your kids. I still got to call my dad tonight, but I will. Alienation means she is the good one, and he is so abusive and controlling and was beating her up all day when she divorces you. I've gone through, and I won't go through it again, but in the court papers that I dealt with, I was basically labeled a not good father. I went to every game. I coached multiple sports seasons of them. I was always there, and that's what they do. They try to tar and feather the father in the courts. So it is what it is. I will get into a couple stats here. There's bad dads out there, but I think in modern society, there's a very good argument that men are better single parents than single moms, 100%, because of the feminist destruction. On the fact that most women, my attorney said this. Paid him a lot of money, guys. You know what he said? Women believe their children are their prizes. They believe their children are theirs. Coach Great Adams has talked about this at length, about how women use their kids as pawns and prizes in their life. Having kids makes you poor in today's society. Get up again in the house, and living with a woman messes up your frame. You are not mistaken, my brother. Tell me where you are from. Too much risk, not enough reward to trust a female to not do what our society encourages and allows females to do. I understand hypergamy. It's important that we accept it and not only understand hypergamy, but accept it. It will happen to you eventually. Every divorce that I've seen, it's always the same story. He was a bad man. Yep. My question to her is, when he was so bad, why did you stay with him for over 10 years and have 3 more kids? Doesn't make sense, does it? Does it, Europe? All right, let's get into it. According to, I will link this link down here. It's called Dad's SRC, The Hidden Dangers of How Family Courts Keep Their Fathers Out of the Picture. Half of all marriages in the country end in divorce. What they don't know are the statistics of what happens with custody issues that leave the dads out cold. Unfortunately, many judges, guardians, and lawyers, as well as county and state agencies and welfare systems, are all guilty in creating the alienation. Whatever their well-meaning intentions might be, they play a big role in maintaining and bolstering a system that discourages, inhibits, or flat out denies children having access to their fathers. A Dad's Resource Center study of 700 contested custody cases. A contested case means you are not agreeing with what has been brought to you by the petitioner, which is your wife. Found that on average, these courts awarded mothers 69% and fathers 31% of custody time. 70% went to the mother, 30% went to the man. Mothers were given either full or primary custody in 496 of these cases. Fathers received either full or primary custody in 100 of these cases, and the parents were awarded joint in only 104. I got joint custody because I paid for it out of my ass, and I fought for it. Paul says, yeah, women are effed up in the head. A lot of them are. Again, they think the kids are their prizes. I was lucky that I received custody of my 2 daughters, so you can pretty much figure out what type of person my ex was. Good for you, brother. Your daughters will have a strong father figure. Europe says the biggest simp move of all time is marrying single mothers. He loves used toys and used cars. A lot of men will marry a single mother because they get that affection and validation in the beginning. Then it goes away. D-Man says money, power, and control. Couldn't agree more. When a man gets bored, he changes the channel or his beer. When a female gets bored, she changes husbands and destroys her family. Couldn't agree more, brother. Women get the kids, state makes the money. Men get kids, state gets no money. I had a custody and the court waived her child support. Go figure. And we're supposed to be EQUAL. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, nearly 22 million children have a parent who lives outside of the household. That's 1 in 4 kids of all children in the United States of America, and maybe Canada at this point, live 25% of all children. It further reports that 4 out of every 5 children's custodial parents is their mother. Only 1 out of every 5 custodial parents are fathers. While the percentage of fathers who are custodial has increased over the years, they are still being granted custodial rights far less often. 1994, 16% of custodial parents were the father. By 2018, only 20% became the father. 4% of an increase of custodial rights for the father within, 24 years? It went up 4%. Whose side are we on here? Whose side are the courts on? Equality is a myth. I wish all the brainlets could see reality for what it is. Most won't. You're right, Paul. After the divorce, she wants a beta male simp, so she can go, yep. Divorce only happens when she is married to a strong man. You guys, I tell you this all the time. My father-in-law was not me. I was my father. She was her mother. It was never going to work out. I should have seen that years ago. Unfortunately, I did not get the memo. How many women are in jail for non-payment? 0. If she keeps the kids when the father comes to pick the kids up and she won't let the kids go, the cops will show up. They won't do anything. But if it was the guy doing that, what do you think would happen? Again, this whole equality thing is very difficult to understand. Now let's do this. Many of the fathers who are not granted custodial get very little time with their kids, typically a night a week, maybe every other weekend, 4 nights a month. Some won't even get the weekends. According to the blank analysis executive summary by Dad's Resource Center, some of the hidden dangers are of the following. These are the issues with a man, a father, not in the house. Less likely to graduate from high school or college. Less likely to vote, donate to charity, or volunteer their time. More likely to have been convicted of a crime, use hard drugs, and smoke. Not to mention alcohol. More likely to have intercourse before the age of 17 and need mental health treatment. More likely to make less money per year as an adult and much more likely to use government assistance throughout their life. Makes a wonderful equation, a recipe for for the family nuclear unit, doesn't it? The state wants to take care of all of their discretion against fatherhood. Interesting. After the divorce, she wants a man, but she is a man. 100% Europe. They all turn into masculine women. The brainwashing is very effective. I heard it's about 20% of the people are unbrainwashable. Sounds about right. Yeah, you're right, Primo. We would know he would be charged with kidnapping, depriving her of the parental rights that he'd be going to. Yep. I guarantee if the kids didn't want to go and stay with dad and she showed up, you better believe you'd have a SWAT team with snipers on the ground. Steven, mom makes trouble. Cops say it's a civil matter and they don't get involved. Dad caused trouble. Yep. And he's going in the cruiser. I was a weekend dad for 10 years. Do not believe Strag, says Singletown Bachelor. I get it, brother. Will Murphy, plausible deniability is one of the most under-talked about forms of psychological abuse. Couldn't agree more, Will. Good. Glad you are here in the chat. Equality, the worst thing ever given to the woman was the right to blank. I'm not going to say that because you never know what the AI is doing. But you're right. Happy Canadas. I was a father at 17. Wow. Tell me how old you are now and what is the situation? Bookshelf. My buddy who knocked up the single mom with 2 kids is now starting to get frustrated that he has no money. Guys, do you know how much kids cost? When I raised them, they were considered $250,000 a year. That's in 1997. I guarantee it's $400,000. Megatron, a lot of mothers tried to brainwash their sons. So sure. My neighbor, real good friend of mine, married, had 2 kids, 2 boys. She divorced him after the 3rd year, would not let the boys talk to the family. The grandfather's nobody. Now the oldest is reaching out 22 years later. 22 years without hearing from his boy. And his boy probably got curious. I want to know my dad. And apparently they have a great relationship now. It doesn't bode well for the women that alienate the kids from the fathers. I'm a Chad and I'm honest to all my brothers in the chat. Modern women will drain all of your energy. And if you want, be homeless and broke and marry her. Well said. One Fast Dak is back. Happy Father's Day. Dak knows a thing or two about being in a relationship with a woman that put him behind some cold cement for several months. If you haven't seen that video, that live stream with him, myself, and Father Saunders, check it out. Good to see you, Dak. Appreciate you, brother. Love the videos. Keep them coming. And the shorts, by the way. Everything women vote for screws us in the end. Be done with women's rights. You're 51. The mom cheated. Got you. So that your kid's 34. Wow. So you're my age. 34. Hopefully you have a good relationship, happy Canada's. Where are you in Canada? Because we got a lot of Canadian brothers in here right now. Slavery still exists. Men are slaves to the government and to the wife. She moved out, left me with the bills. Of course. Huh. Guys, we have horror stories. We have Nightmare on Elm Streets in this chat right now. If anybody knew. Modern women are 304s and gold diggers, all the same. I speak from experience. If a man pays for everything like a simp, they call it, he is such a gentleman. Of course, you're a gentleman if you give up your meat, money, energy, attention, and time. Love in the modern world means she is given the world. The man gets to give his life, and she gives very little other than her expectations and her magical presence. Remember, they're princesses. I have, well, my get up again. My house is note free. I was able to pay for my house when I bought it. But I still pay the taxes, the utilities. It's like I'm a one person here now, and it's like I pay the utilities of like 10 people. It's like it's ridiculous. Thanks, D-Man, for putting Dak's channel up. Midland, Ontario. We got Ontario. We've got Dak's up in Alberta. Chris Mitchell's way the hell up in somewhere. He's probably making pizza right now. But divorce court is Nightmare on Elm Street. You 100%, guys, you don't want to be in court. Zero court. Go to the People's Court if you want to go to court with Judge Wapner, if he's still alive. The problem with society today and the weak young male is due to the last 2 generations raised by single mothers. Jason Reed from Colorado, laying it down. Well said, brother. Well said. And yet all a father wants is to help and steer his kids. Now, as you guys know, I have 3 kids. The last 2 are 4 years apart. The first 2 are 2 years and a half apart. They were 14 and 16 and 10. And I was not, the youngest came with me all the time. We had a great relationship. The older 2 didn't. I do not have a relationship with the oldest. She is a girl. She is a 304. And it's not the fact that I'm saying that out of spite. It is who she is. Tattooed, makeup, attention seeking. She is not a 98%. Unfortunately, she was raised by a mother who patrolled the father. Again, raised by a mother who policed and patrolled the father so that she had no accountability. Hence, is it any reason that she's in the streets now? Don't deal with those demon Siemens, Paul. A thought came to me last night. All women are actresses. Some are able to play a role for a night, for a few months, and some years they all. You're right, Stephen. That's a great analogy right there, brother. As the guy told me on the plane, your audience changes. So her roles changed. My daughter got her a wake-up call all because I told her again why I left her mother. She is mental. She accuses him of cheating. Gotcha. And she scans his phone while she told our daughter that she will leave him if she won in lotto. Well, you can't make it up. No, you can't, brother. And I knew what that word meant, Paul, when you said it. Thanks, Dak, for putting Chris Mitchell's channels up. He does some good stuff as well. The biggest kryptonite for modern women is when they become older and they will hit the wall very hard. The wall will get them all. Let her buy 10 cats and she will call all 10 cats her little kids. Furry mamas, right? Well, unfortunately, when women hit the wall, they don't acknowledge the wall. They can't accept the wall, but they hit the wall. It's all good, Paul. Makeup is an illusion. She uses tons of makeup and 100 photo filters. Women can only keep up their act for about 3 months, then the real demons start showing. Well, the guys, the chemicals wear off. I wish every man in 7th and 8th grade going through puberty took a course on dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and vasopressin, and what society has made those chemicals into as a label. Right? It just wears off. Those chemicals wear off. They wore off for every one of us that has ever been involved with a woman, a wife, a fiance, a girlfriend, what have you. The family court laws today are all a power and wealth transfer scam. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Results oriented back. Good to see you, brother. The wall has no prisoners. The wall takes everybody. Even men that don't take care of themselves could hit the wall. Fathers need to be stoic. They need to show strong direction and leadership for their kids. They need to be able to say no. If frame matters in this world, it should be the father holding frame with the kids. In other words, if they are given, rules and regulations and they break them, then they need to suffer the consequences. That's the only way kids learn. Man, I got my ass kicked all the time by my dad. I'm so glad he did. Where would I be without a strong dad holding me to the fire when I broke his rules or disrespected him? But now we have women that jump and patrol and police the fathers so they cannot do that. And then they discard them because they want them all to themselves. And those kids, in my situation, I have one like that, is a result of being policed and being called abusive because I wanted that person, that child of mine, who happens to be the firstborn, to have responsibility and accountability in life, because those, and respect and integrity, those are the 4 key components of having a decent life moving forward. But I was policed. And now we're seeing the results of what happened. You are right, brother. Every girl I've dated after 3 or max 4 months, she changed to a demon and wanted full control. I just think people change. Will Murphy, Ephesians 5:22, wives, submit to your husband as to the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ, the head of the church. Also, wives submit to their husbands in everything. They do not like that scripture, do they, Will? Read that in front of a congregation sometime. That they don't know what they were talking about in Ephesians. It's a different world. Really? As far as I know, from day one, a man put his penis in a woman's vagina and a child was born, or an embryo was created. An embryo be formed into a child, and there was still a father and a mother. Victim mentality is the play card of modern women. Guys, they're all gold medalists in the Victim Olympics. They win every year. My dad doesn't F around. He has always been a man in every sense of the word. Well said, Paul. My dad was tough, but my mom respected and supported my father, and vice versa. When my mom was tough on us kids, my mom was never friends with my sisters. She was my mother, and she always was very nurturing and caring to her kids, but she was not a pushover. John Boston, the legendary John, is in the house. John's got a couple kids. He knows what we're talking about. Good to see you, brother. Carl, my father is an indifferent man. His way of showing love is to criticize your decisions. Gotta love him. You only get one after all. And I was talking about this earlier today with my 2 boys. We went to the Habit Burger for lunch, spent a couple hours together, talked a lot about conspiracy theories, moon landings, Egypt, the Anunnaki race, quantum physics. But I said to him, my dad never really told me that he loved me. I knew he loved me, but they just didn't do that. His dad, my grandfather, who died at almost 104 back in 19, I remember he'd show up as a teenager. He'd show up and shake my dad's hand, call him his first name. Hello, Tim, and shake his hand. Not even a hug. But that's how they showed their affection. So, Carl, your dad loved you regardless. It was a different way of showing it. I totally agree with that. How long after you divorced did you feel like yourself again? Probably took about a good 18 months to 2 years. They say 1 month for every year married. Feeling good, but I was living after 6 months, I felt like I was on the right track, but it took a while. It definitely takes a while. My ex got an RO and then kept it going for over 18 months. Every judge says, why is there an RO? She listened to her attorney. Well, number one, they get money for drafting a restraining order, right? They get money. And then they get to enforce it. So they make even more money. It's all a big friggin' scam. She's an idiot, John. Mine got a forensic accountant. And they missed all these accounts. She probably paid $2,000 for it. Paul, same here. Yeah, I mean, my dad is a very stoic man. Now his testosterone is, he's almost 80. His testosterone's gone down, and his estrogen, he's become more of a jovial man. But still, that's how I grew up. He was a tough mother effer. I would not trade that man for another father. Do you know why? Because I would not be here in my situation if I did not have a tough dad. Mars Lau, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Glad you are back in the chat, my man. If she left you, never take her back. We do not bathe in dirty bathwater. Stanley Kubrick made the moon landings. How about this? Who was filming the moon landing when the capsule landed and there's no pit based on the fire coming out of the exhaust engines? Who filmed it? And how did they use a rotary phone to call 1,000,000 miles out to the capsule? How are they using a rotary phone? Don't question, Rad. Go watch the Bart, Sabrell, and Joe Rogan episode. And the shadows are all whackety whack up there. You're right, Paul. They made it in a building with air conditioning. BJ's in the house. Good to see you. Well, I would say, Paul, allegedly. You can't control your wife. You can't discipline your children. So what power does a man have in a modern relationship? None. And men don't understand that when they have kids. Yeah, women have all of the power, unfortunately. It's where it's been for 3 decades. Jason Reed, strong men, strong fathers are a threat to the system. They're trying very hard to eliminate them. Well said. Sounds like Paul had a very similar father, and probably a lot of you guys did. The law will always change the woman's side, will always be on the woman's side. The man loses court battle 90% of the time, says Retro Shadow. Good to have you, brother. Joseph Hoffman, the aliens helped us too, Rad. You're not mistaken. My ex got a forensic accountant. I told the judge that's marital money. I want the report. The attorney fought it, but I got the report. I would love to have seen that, John. The number one reason for failed relationship is a failure to submit. How can you get into arguments and submit at the same time? True. Talks about submission in the Bible. Rad, check out the Wife Files. Good vlogger and calls it out when it's sus but not closed-minded. Had a good video on the moon landing and recently Dark Side of the Moon. Apparently the dark side of the moon is really dark, sketchy, right? I'll check it out, Carl. Look at the recent Indian missions where they landed on the moon. How do they have a third point of view watching them? Exactly. And how do they call from a rotary phone? Modern women are doing so great, getting pumped and dumped, crying on TikTok and getting a certain disease. What a good woman. Of course, the rise of the crybaby TikTokers. I love my dad. He was a salty, hard-ass, retired Army warrant officer, highly decorated vet from Vietnam. Taught me so much. Took a while for it to take, but I'm matured and those seeds blossom. I told my boys that today about my dad. And I say, guys, every generation just wants their boys and their kids to be successful. And some do it differently. Some show love in very different ways. And that's why I've always told them, I will always tell you I love you. Because I don't know when my last day will be, and I want you to know that. Brotherhood strong on Father's Day. Let's honor them as American heroes, says Mega. Well said. D-Man, why do these astronauts have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? It's to keep up the belief that we did. Also, the quality of the video showing the landing was so bad. Well, that and the shadows. They talk about the shadows. You can't have those shadows that are perpendicular, not parallel. The government changed Allah so hard, so we will never win. We will always lose in court, says Europe. When I got a quote for the forensic account, the opposing attorney charged 3 times as much. I took the quote, brought it into the court, and gave it to the judge, and accused the creditor. Good for you, John. Happy Father's Day to you as well, Mars. May my father rest in peace. Oh, rest in peace to him as well. Glad that he was there in my life because he didn't have to be. He did it anyways. I'm my father's son. Good for you. Respecting your father, regardless of how you grew up. Man, I grew up in the 80s. We had no money, 6 kids. It was difficult. Interest rates were 18%. There was a huge recession. And my dad taught me, and every one of my brothers and sisters have been successful. Now, the older 3, we had a different upbringing than the last 3 because obviously things gotten better. But yeah, we were taught lessons, and it's paid off. Masculine strength and stability is disrespected by woke leftards. They have no clue about the solid facts when we men, the value we men bestow on society. Well said, T-Tox. Glad you're in the chat, brother. He's a father as well. I have a collect call from the moon, says Stroke. Again, how does a rotary phone call the moon? Don't understand it. Believe whatever we tell you, the government. And if people find out, I mean, check out what happened with Putin and the artificial intelligence that scanned the Chinese moon landing that said it was real and scanned the American moon landing, the picture with the flag, and it's basically said this is not real. After the divorce, she is not the woman you used to know. No, she's not. In the 80s, I thought MTV had landed on the moon. Oh, man, remember Martha Quinn, Kurt Loder, Downtown Julie Brown? Greg Reese from InfoWars has an amazing video showing the moon landing was a hoax using NASA's own words and data. I don't believe we went. Come on. We've never gone back. We burned the equipment. And the 3 that came back did a press conference, and they looked really scared. Really? And the original moon landing tapes were rewritten to capture. Yeah. They were filming a film of the live feed. Why don't they just give the live feed to the people? Because they knew it was sketchy. Rad, you ever heard of the theory that the sun, moon, and stars are all within the Earth's enclosure and there's no outer space? Sounds crazy. I think I've heard something about that. Most women don't include a warranty in a relationship. Men gain experience and knowledge in those dead-end relationship with the biatches. True. Friends don't let friends get haircuts. Well said, Retro. D-Man, friends don't let friends get friends haircuts. There you go. Don't question the moon landing and Biden's 81 million votes, says John. Just don't question anything, guys. Put your head down. Don't ask questions. I saw a statistic that her second divorce comes 78% faster, and her hurricanes and nagging attacks are 500% faster. I'm eating Pringles and staying single. There you go. It's about as real as India's Minecraft moon mission. Carl says, by the way, how's the home sale process going? Very slow, man. Talked to Timmy Kramer the other day. He's a realtor, and it's just a weird market right now. I've sold a lot of stuff, and I'm just waiting. My house is priced very well in a great location, and no one's buying at this. That's weird. I will watch that video, brother. Europe says, if I see a married man, I always say, rest in peace. He's a walking zombie. Anyone but me watch Salty Cracker on Rumble? I haven't seen Salty Cracker. The last crewed mission to the moon was Apollo 17, taking place in 1972, 50 years ago. I wonder why. Keep the lie going. In the movie The Shining, Kubrick alluded to the moon landing with the number of the room of the main characters were staying in. Interesting, Paul. Check that out. However, it's in thousands of miles. Yeah. And how did we go through that radiation belt? You would have cooked. It's like 10 million times stronger than getting radiation at the dentist office. I'll have to check out Salty Cracker, you guys. I get a sentimental Father's Day message from my daughter this morning. I'm so grateful she is conservative and not Looney Tunes. I haven't talked to my daughter for over a year, T-Tox, and I'm okay with that. She's toxic 304. That was, life will come fast for her. Let's just say that. I shut the door, but I did not lock it. Same distance it is to get to the moon. Boston market for real estate still on fire. Yeah, it's all, I mean, we're in a great location. It's just weird. I mean, the person that's going to buy my home, 550 and below, it's not a family of 4. It's going to be a divorced man with 3 kids. It's going to be a young couple or an older couple. Right now, a lot of the homes that are moving in this market are 650 and higher, second type family homes for bigger yards, things like that. But, I'm not too worried. I'm giving myself plenty of time. It's been on the market 58 days. I've had several people through. I had one offer from an investor that was from an Asian investor, very low, and I wouldn't take it. Paul says cosmic radiation, no joke. Well, how did they get through the belt? They would have burned up. I'll have to check out this salty cracker guy. Sounds like you guys are in it. Rad watch Ken McElroy, self-made real estate billionaire, and while he's buying in the next, he's negative on the housing markets unless you have cash and the cash flow makes sense. Sure. Man, I paid between $350 and $4, and I've got it listed for $530. And I'm the lowest priced with the biggest and most amenities in this area. I'm 60 square feet more than the other one, and I'm $10,000 less. So I'm priced well. Everybody else has high square footage. I think I'm at $289 a square foot. Everybody else is over $300. And this house shows well. It shows like new. Plantation shutters, granite countertops. Nothing was spared when I bought it. So we'll see. No rush. I saw a home listed for $899. They ended up selling it for $1 million. Jeez. Well, some of those areas, man, are just hot, right? I think I'm assuming like August, September. He's big on buying. See, I don't want to buy. I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want that just emotional, mental challenge where the water heater breaks or they overflow the bathtub and it costs $100,000 to repair it, or they burn the damn place down. I want to be done. Money can buy a house, but not a home. Enjoy every second. There's a good reason why everything happened. God is protecting us from the evil. Yeah, there's a reason it hasn't gone very quick, but it is what it is. Maybe I need to be here for a couple more months for the boys. A relationship cannot work unless that man has 100% control. Chase is not wrong here. He has to be the pilot. Well said, brother. Good to have you. The house near me just listed for $659 square foot. These people are insane. I bought mine for $218 a square foot. And I'm the lowest priced in this neighborhood. There's 3 of them. I'm the lowest price with the most amount of square footage. I am not trying to be greedy. I actually brought it down $20,000 when I first listed it. And which was on par with the square footage. So we'll see. All the best wishes on your next move. Thanks, D-Man. But I will still be here. The background might be a beach or a blue turquoise wall with a little sombrero hat in the back, but we will always be in contact. That's dang sure. But that's the reality of fatherhood. Kids need fathers. The courts know it, but the prison industrial complex makes money every time they get a prisoner or someone that has to serve time. They make money. The CIA went to the hip hop folks, the gangster rap, and created gangster rap. When I grew up, You Be Illin' was a hit song. My Adidas. Brass Monkey. You got to fight for your right to party. And now it's all about gangsta and, yay, AK, get your AK, Mercedes, money, chicks, hoes. They went so that they would get people to listen to that and act out what the rappers. You have to look at the CIA and gangster rap connection. It got more people serving time. Single fathers making Father's Day about them. Yep. Or the moon as the background. Yeah, I'll have the moon. Rad, as well as I do that realtors are not trying to get their fair market value when selling, but to sell it as quickly as possible. Yeah, I have the comp. My buddy's selling it, and the maximum I'm at, he's doing it for 3% total. So I'm not doing 6%. I told him I would. I think he's taken, and now with the new rules, we'll see what happens. But yeah, 2% to the buyers, he's going to take 1%, which is fine. But he's cool. It's interest rates, income to debt ratio, and dropping credit scores wrecking the market. Few people can even qualify for a loan. Yeah? You're not mistaken, Stephen. Modern women are disrespecting all men worldwide in every kind of way. They make divorce parties. It's sad. It's really sad what happens to the kids. If you think about it, remove the mom and dad or the husband and wife from the divorce. It's the kids that suffer. It's the kids. Paul Schmecker, PSYOPs, be real. There you go. And the government loves divorce because it's a money-making stream. It thins the male crowd with those that delete themselves. It gets men in trouble, so potentially they get to be controlled. There's a lot of challenges, and it's not the 1950s, the 40s anymore. These last 80 years have destroyed society all over. So when people say, I'm going to go and find a Dominican, oh, you can. They got laws there too. I'm stuck in a generation where glorifying women and degrading men is what people consider equality. I think you laid it down in Chinatown, Europe. I think you laid it down in Chinatown. What most people need to learn in life is how to love people and use the things instead of using people and loving things. You know, in South America, the thing I like about South America, Central America, is the fact that they put so much emphasis on the family versus material things. Here in the West, we put more value on material things than the family. And guess what happens? Right? When mighty and strong females live for experiences, they want to experience multiple men, engagement, marriage, pregnancy, and children. Then it's a new experience, and men and families are destroyed. Well, they want that dopamine. I mean, it's a reality. Men are content with eating a ham sandwich and a couple of Pringles while opening a Pacifico. You know, taking a nice little hike, talking to their buddies, watching a sports game, going to see, you know, an old 80s metal act. Women, for the most part, a lot of the women I know, 98%, are not happy with themselves. They're constantly seeking. They need more and more and more. Stress, anxiety, and depression are caused when we are living to please others. Mars says, well said, Europe. What are your true thoughts on the government reinstating the draft? My boys brought that up today because they're 19 and 23. So obviously they registered when they were 18, but something's going down, Mars. Something's going down. Thank the 60s, Rad. Yep. Thank the 60s and rubber-soled shoes. Having spent so much time overseeing rubbing elbows with secret squirrels and watching what they were doing, it's beyond obvious what is going on in the USA. Well said, Stephen. Stephen will know. Men expecting women to not have female nature is like expecting a dog not to bark, says Chase. Sure. I don't know if you noticed, but most men are the ones that strike up conversations. Very rarely attractive women engages. Well, yeah, yeah, you're right, Retro. Every man should have a period in his life where he is building his foundation. No dating, no games, no excuses, no distractions, just pure dedicated focus on his health, his business, and his finances. I brought that up to my two boys today. And my oldest is like, Dad, these women are delusional. I go, yeah, isn't it crazy that you have to take them out to a restaurant, a stranger, have a 5-hour interview from them, and then they never talk to you again? He goes, yeah, it's happened. I don't do that anymore. I go, good. Don't chase them. Let them come to you. I just got back from Canada. It seemed pretty nice to me, but I didn't talk to that many people. Canada is great. Beautiful country. Beautiful. But they got a squirrely Trudeau that's leading them. But there's some good conservative, masculine men. We have them in the chat here. Dak, Primo, Chris Mitchell, Bolo, a lot of them. A hungry stomach, an empty wallet, and a broken heart can teach you the best lessons of life. We don't need much, guys. We don't need much. Minimalistic living is how we live. If you did not have a woman or kids to support, you would not be living in a gigantic house. You'd be driving probably a decent truck. You'd be wearing jeans and boots, maybe jeans and tennis shoes, T-shirts and shorts, maybe a suit once a year for a wedding or a baptismal event at your church. You don't need much. Your kitchen's not going to be stocked with a bunch of frou-frou bougie stuff. It's going to be steak and eggs, cheese, tortillas, vegetables, pasta. Being in a relationship with a modern woman requires the man to have no self-respect. Well said. Females are constantly seeking and seeking because they're empty and cannot be content with a simple existence like a child who needs constant entertainment or it's tantrum time. Well, women need, discipline is key, right? Holding them accountable is key, but that's not going to happen. 90% of Only Fools members are married men, so that is what you have to look forward to, paying money to jerk your children to some single mom. Hard pass. Well said, Stephen. I do not think contention is a female trait, much like loyalty. It's not in their vocabulary. It does not compute. Does not compute. Thanks for posting the channel again on Rumble, D-Man. Appreciate you being here. I will sell my 3,000 square foot place next year when I'm simplifying big time. This house is 1,900, a little over 1,900. It's like way big for me. We don't need much. Women don't love men. They love what men can do for them. Yeah, as Richard Cooper says, I know some might not like him. Every now and again a video will pop up. He does have some truth behind some of his messages, but he does say women hang out at the finish line. They cut in front. So what does a woman bring to the table? A lot of women believe that their beauty and looks and charm should be all that matters. Well, that might matter if there was respect towards the man, if there was accountability and responsibility, and if there was submission. Submission in a good way. In other words, submission for the good of the relationship. That doesn't happen anymore. Pheromone soap. Did you guys buy your pheromone soap yet? Pheromone soap basically says, if I wear this, women will be attracted to me, which again puts a woman on the pedestal. How about testosterone soap that makes men more testosterone, and he's able to lift more and be on purpose and hike more and be happier? And they sell a soap so you can attract women. That's no different than PUA grift. It's a grift. Told my boys, you want a woman? Don't chase them. Let them come to you. It's going to be tough, down the road, And I think my boys should experience a girlfriend, but not marry them, not have kids, and not cohabitate. They might understand what life is about. Yeah, Richard Cooper. Him and I almost did. I was emailing him several years, 2 or 3 years ago, and I had the other channel, and he's like, well, what will you bring to the table? It's like, what? I'm married. I was divorced. Or I was married. I'm divorced. I have 3 kids. I've gone through the shitter. What do you mean? I got 2 more kids than you do. Bernie Mac, money attracts the woman you want. The struggle attracts the woman you need. I find that very hard to believe. Yeah, that's an interesting quote by Bernie Mac. If you had $1 billion, would you be dealing with these strags in the streets? These 304s that look identical? They all look the same. They have the yarn in their hair for hair extensions. They've got the snuffleupagus eyelashes. They've got the fake noses, makeup noses, Botox, frozen faces, pig lips, fake bolt-ons, fake implants in their butt, Lululemon that hides their fat and folds. They all look the same. Happy for you, Ral, that you spent time with your kids. Yeah, it was just, they actually texted me yesterday and said, Dad, we want to come over and hang out. And I'm like, yeah, which we do. Like we do lunch. They brought me some beef jerky and some hot sauce, which I don't want things, just bring me a candy bar and just come over and be with your dad. I'll take you to lunch. And that's what we did. We talked about boy things. We didn't talk about mom or sister, just boy things. Let your boys take a chance. They could actually find a nice lady who will stay with them. I've seen it happen. Well, if anything, the experience of knowing what they don't know is important. If we are honest, even in the good old days, a successful marriage was a man working his ass off, handing his paycheck to the wife to manage the household. We romanticize a time period long ago. Sure. And that is what curiosity does for boys and men. They're still curious. Boy, if I could just be married, there's something to it. And we're warning people that marriage it's very risky. I don't recommend it. I'm not anti. I don't recommend it. I guess if I was Amish, I'd be fine with it. But again, female nature is universal in all females. Male nature is universal in all males. Paul says, I did it, one and done. Me too. When I was building this place, my ex called it the other woman and tried to pull me away from it. Left her. Now my place is worth about $2 million. Damn, hers wasn't appreciated much. Hasn't appreciated. Of course, you chose an investment. She chose a trophy. A dictionary I once owned had the definition of selfish as female, and the definition of female is no kidding. Wow. Women back in the day had it on easy mode. Patriarchy, my ass. Jason Reed. I agree that the TV dinner destroyed everything in the microwave. Before that, they had to cook meals. They had to create meals from scratch. There was no TV dinners you could go buy. You had to go and buy the ingredients, make it, knead the dough, let it rise, bake it, spend 3 to 4 hours in the afternoon. You had no time to be out there monkey branching. You had to wash the clothes. And typically, the dryers were not really around. They would wash the clothes and then they put them on clotheslines and then have to fold them. So they had no time but to work within the confines of the house. And then the TV dinner and microwave came out, and the electric dryer. Tradition, women think that submission in a relationship can be situational, optional. Yeah, right. And so people say, I'm a wife, I have so much work to do. Okay, I get it if you have kids, but if you're a wife, okay, the microwave and the stove cook your food. Most likely, you're probably buying prepared dishes. Your washing machine and dryer wash and dry the clothes. All you have to do is fold them and put them away. My cousin is enjoying the show. He said, I enjoy the BBL booties. Ain't nothing wrong with plastic butts, especially when their poop smells like melted plastic, says Mars. Rad, if you know James Sexton, yep, is a divorce attorney. Recommend watching his. I've seen all of his. He's got some very insightful comments on marriage and divorce, but he's also pro-marriage. He believes that what did he say? He has an analogy. If your pet dies after 15 years, do you not get another pet? No, you're going to go get a new pet and love that pet just like you did 15 years for the last 15 years, but you know that pet's going to die too. I'm not a big fan of his agreement. He hasn't married his new girl. He has a girlfriend, but he has not married her. Go figure. Men allowed women to have free time. That didn't work out well, did it? Women have a lot of free time now. The divorce is like an amputation. You survive it, but there's less of you. Well said, Europe. Ironic that men created the means to our own destruction. Men created stuff to make his wives' lives easier, and that has snowballed to I don't need a man. Now, men invented the microwave to help to get away from the open fire cooking food. He invented the washing machine, the dryer. He invented the blender. He invented all of the electrical knives and everything that blends and makes lives easier. It's ironic, isn't it? Well said, Stephen. Divorce isn't such a tragedy. A tragedy is staying in an unhappy marriage. Yeah, but when your pet dies, it doesn't take half your stuff. That should have been brought up. He was on Soft White Underbelly. He's been on, I've seen him. He was on, I think him and Richard Cooper did something. Or Rollo Tomasi. He actually read Rollo Tomasi's book, Irrational Male, when he was going through his divorce. Not a fan of Rollo, the person, but he does say some things in the book that are valuable. He does have his place. The fact that he's on roids now and he's, does his own thing or whatever, but that's, again, there's part of his message that does resonate. Never solve a woman's problems. Well, they'll never be solved. I survived amputation and divorce. You sure did, T-Talks. There's less of me because of both. And how is your life better now? I guarantee it's a hell of a lot better. And he's rebelled against defeat. It wasn't defeat. It's just a new chapter. Men need to understand that. So many people live in the past, but the past doesn't exist, nor does the future. And yet we live in the past. So if we live in the past, that means we're dead. Marriage could be saved if the woman gets nothing. It would force women to select better men and to not bail in relationships. Sure. Absolutely. We should eliminate no-fault divorce. Yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen because there's so much money on the divorce side and the lawyers love it, and so do the courts. Romeo died because of Juliet. Jack died because of Rose. Stay single if you want to live. Iceberg, straight ahead. The Titanic. My ex-wife and I saw Titanic. Came out in '97, I believe. That was the year we got married. We saw it 2 times. It was actually a pretty good movie. I liked the characters and the story. We all know what happened, but it was interesting how they put it together. T-Talk says, my life restarted on a brand new chapter. Yeah, people can bounce back from whatever has happened to them. It might not be the same, but we can bounce back. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. He does not love solitude. He will not love freedom. Well said, for it is only when he is alone that he is really free. Alone with his thoughts. Alone with his thoughts. Money is the root of all evil. Look at any world issue and simply follow it. It is profitable. If it's profitable, you will find strife, stress, and wars. Why are wars so prevalent? Because there's money in it. There's resources to be had and to be taken. Well said, Stephen. It's better to die alone than to be with a woman that makes you feel alone. I think that's in the Bible somewhere. But that is the reality, man. The courts alienate the fathers because they can. Remember, they try to have some parade, the men's rights activists. That doesn't work. The only way to play the game is to not play the game. The only way to play the game and to win is to not play it. Follow the money, the system would become crystal clear. Well said, D-Man. Carl says, I think it was Orson Welles who said it best. The difference between a rom-com and a tragedy is the point at which you end the movie. Orson Welles. There you go. There you go. Europe says a man that cannot be manipulated by sex intimidates a woman because now she must bring something else of real value. Isn't that interesting? When a man is not bamboozled by her looks or her sexuality or her intimate, charm, what can she do to get the man? I guarantee she doesn't make more than the man, or the majority don't. She can't probably play sports as well as the man. Maybe can. But yeah, I think that's a great statement. Women, for the most part, what if women did not have their genitalia? Would men still be chasing them? Think about that. But if men are seen as providers and protectors. That's who we are. That's who we want to be. They want that and they want more. There's always the original 13th Amendment we could still pass instead. There you go. Goes back to Adam and Eve. Actually, Adam and Lilith, the Jewish folklore Lilith, who did not submit, who was a feminist. So Adam divorced her and married Eve. Even our own, whatever religion you believe, there is a creationism with Adam and Eve. I don't know what the Muslims believe, the Adam and Eve story, or if it's just a Christian belief, but it's interesting. Lilith, look it up. Most women set out to try to change a man, and when they have changed him, they do not like him. When the man changes for the woman, she is repulsed by that because she gained control over him, and biologically and subconsciously, she knows that's not what women should do. So she is repulsed by him forever. I get Stephen's point, but it's love of money that is the root. Money unto itself is a monetary measurement used to exchange goods. Yeah, I mean, money only provides the ability to have a specific circumstance through either an object or an experience. People go, I love money. No, you don't. You love what money can provide, which could be lots of things. Sustenance, leisure, luxury, experience, excitement. But money by itself is just paper with ink on it. Thanks, D-Man, for being here. Appreciate you, brother. Feminism, as Jason Reed from Colorado says, is the downfall of societies. It's been the downfall because women were never supposed to be in charge. It says that in the Bible, in the good book, in the Quran. Women's places are as co-pilots, being a helper, a complement to the man, not the centerpiece. That's where it all went wrong. But they wanted more and more, Jason Reed, didn't they, in the 60s? I have a friend, older, smooth gentleman that landed a killer job in San Diego. He tells me stories about all the ultra-rich divorce cougars he nails, and they all live in luxury divorce money. Yeah. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. Most men suffer in silence because they know that no one cares. And I think a lot of men suffer because men are prideful. We don't want to share the pain we're going through. And that's why forums like this and channels that we have in this space are so important, right? Megatron says, feminism is truly cancer. Protect the brethren. Without men, this world will fall apart. Who's going to maintain the streets, the electrical grid, the power lines, the water treatment facilities, the basic necessities, the air traffic controlling stations, the petroleum plants? The Muslims do. Interesting. Good to know that, Justin. Man, I guess my comments are getting heated. I haven't gotten rid of anybody's comments. I don't really have any real trolls. There's a couple that come through, but not too bad. Being alone for a while is dangerous. It's addicting. Once you see how peaceful it is, you don't want to deal with women anymore. Well, you find a different version of yourself that likes to be by himself. And I think that's the key. We break that shell. Too many Adam's ex-wives around the world. History repeats itself. Jesus is a great example of the ultimate alpha and omega. He walked around as a minimalist, telling people they could have a happier life. No different than what we're doing here. Guys, it's been a great chat. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Remember, we're here. We're available. We're all brethren. And we all respect one another. Have a great day, and we will see you on the next one. Check out Hammer's streams and go from there. Talk to you soon. Rebel against defeat.